question 3, part A, we've got to work out the area of the blue shaded area on your screen here. And this is made up really of two rectangles. The outside rectangle here is 8 high and 9 wide. So let's work out the area of that rectangle first, as if we had nothing chopped out of the middle. So the area for that, I'm going to call it area of outside, is going to be 8 times 9. Now 8 nines is equal to 72. Now we'll work out the area of the inside rectangle, which is 3 high and 5 wide. So the area of the inside triangle, AI, is going to be 3 times 5. 3 times 5 is 15. We want the difference between the two, because the difference between the two is the area of the blue shaded area here. So the answer is going to be, for the area of the blue area, we're going to have to take the 72, the big area, and subtract off the 15, the small area. And that should give us a nice round 57. So the blue area is 57. And we can try a similar trick for part B here. We want the blue area again, or the shaded area, and it's like one big rectangle with two small rectangles chopped out of the middle. So what we'll do is we'll work out the area of the big rectangle first. We can see that the height is going to be this height here, which is 4 plus 6 to give us 10. And the width is going to be this width here, which is going to be 6 plus 7 to give us 13. So the area of the big rectangle, area big, AB, is going to be 10 multiplied by 13, which will give us a lovely 130. Now the area of the inside triangle, and we'll use a different color for this, is going to be this height here, which is 4, multiplied by this width here, which is 6. So it's going to be 4 times 6, which is going to be 24. The area of the right hand small triangle is going to be this height here, which we can see is 3, by this width here, which is 4. So it's going to be 3 times 4, which equals 12. So we've got the area of these rectangles, the small rectangles, is going to be 24 plus 12, which equals 36. Now we want the difference between the big one and the two small ones. So the area we want, the shaded area, AS, is going to be our AB up here, 130, the total area for the big rectangle, minus the area of the small areas, all added together, which is 36, and that will give us 94. So remember, the trick again is to work out the area of the big rectangle first, then chop out the area of the small rectangles, the bits that are missing, and you end up with the area you're actually after. Question 4 is very similar, except in these parts A and B we're going to be using triangles as well as rectangles to work out areas. Now you see in part A we're having to work out the shaded area, which is made up of 3 components. We've got a triangle here, part A, a rectangle here, part B, and another triangle here, part C. Now you'll notice that the triangles are actually the same. The base of this triangle is 4, the base of this triangle is 4. The height of this triangle is 8, it goes from there down to there is 8, and the height of this triangle is 8. So it should be straightforward. If I work out the area of 1, I can double it. So let's start with the area of the rectangle. It's the easiest one to do. So the area for B, the rectangle, is going to be its height multiplied by its width. Well, the height of the rectangle is 8, and the width of the rectangle is this 7 here. So it's going to be 8 times 7 equals 56. The area of the first triangle, A, which is going to be the same as the area of the triangle C, is going to be the formula a half of the base times the height. Or you could say, instead of base, you could talk about the width. And this is going to be equal to 1/2, and the base is 4, so I'm going to put in 4 in there, and the height is 8, so it's going to be equal to 4 times 8 is 32 over 2 equals 16. But the area of each of them is the same, so the area of our triangles AA plus AC is going to be 16 plus 16 equals 32. Take all this together, and my total area, AT, is going to be 56 plus 32, which is going to be equal to 88. There's your answer. Let's try and work out B in a similar fashion. So we're looking at B now. Now this is tackled in two different ways, really, if you want. We can work out the area of the whole rectangle, the outside rectangle, which is going to be 10 high and then 13 wide. So the area of the big rectangle is going to be 10 times 13, which equals 130. Now I want to work out this area in here and chop it out. Well, that's a triangle, and the triangle has a certain height and base, and it doesn't matter which one I call the height and the base. And if we can work it out here, the base is going to be the 10 minus the 3. So this 10 here minus this 3 here will give me the base there, which is going to be 7. And the height, this height is going to be 13 minus the 7 to give me 6. So the area of our triangle AT is going to be 1/2 of, using the formula, half base times height, 7 times 6, half of 7 times 6, which is 1/2 of 7 6s 42, which is equal to 21. So now I've got to take the 21 and subtract it off the 130. So my shaded area is going to be 130 minus 21, which is going to be 109. On the second worksheet, you've got some nice easy averaging to do, and we'll start off with question 1, where we're asked to work out the mean price. This is the mean price of these apples here. So I'm afraid all you have to do is take 89, 67, 76 and 84 and add them up, and then we'll take the average once we get the total. So 4 and 6 is 10, plus 7 is 17, plus 9 is 26. Put down the 6, carry the 2. 2 and 8 is 10, plus 7 is 17, plus 6 is 23, plus 8 is 31. So the total is 316. We'll now take our 316 here, divide it by 4 because we got 4 pounds of apples. 4 into 31. Well, 4 7s will give me 28, and 4 8s will give me 32. So 8's too big, so I'm going to go for 7. 4 7s are 28. That gives me 3 left over. I'll carry that 3. 4 into 36, well 4 8s are 32, 4 9s are 36, so the answer is 79 pence is the mean average. We do something very similar for question 2, so we won't take too long of this. Basically we take all these numbers here to work out the mean mark for Carl's arithmetic tests, and there's 8 of them if you count them up. So we'll put these numbers out here, and if you add these numbers up you'll get 104. Now we take the 104 and we divide it by the number of items, which is 8. 8 into 10 will go once, carry 2. 8 and 24 will go 3 times, so the average is 13. Question 3, very similar. Just move this up a bit so you can see it. Question 3 is very similar. In the science test, the marks for the boys were, and the marks for the girls were. You can see there's 2 different sets of scores. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boys, 1, 2, 3, 4 girls. Okay. Find the mean mark for the boys. Well, again, just take all these numbers here and add them up, and you'll get this lot equals 84. So the mean mark is going to be 84 over the 6 boys. 6 into 8 goes once, carry 2. 6 into 24 goes 4 times, so the average is 14. That's the average for the boys. Similar story for the girls. Take all these numbers here, work out the average of those. So 12 plus 16 plus 19 plus 17 will equal 64. So for the girls, the average for the girls is going to be 64 over 4, 4 girls. 4 into 6 goes once, carry 2. 4 into 24 goes 6 times, so the average is 16. Now we've got to find the average for the whole class. So in this case we have to add up all the numbers, all 10 of them, to get the total. Well, we've already worked these numbers out. In effect, we've got the total for the boys was equal to 84. Total for the girls was 64. So we'll add these up. 4 and 4 is 8. 6 and 8 is 14. 148. But I've got 10 altogether, so the average for the class is going to be 148 over 10, which is 14.8. Okay, let's have a look at question number 4. This is where we've got to work out the median. We want to work out the median temperature. So what we need to do first of all is arrange all the temperatures from lowest to highest in order. And if we do that, we end up with -7, -5, -4, -2, -1, 0 and 1. We ought to check we've got the same number of temperatures we started with. Altogether I should have 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 7 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 across here. So I know I've got the right number, I haven't missed anything. The median is the middle temperature, and the middle temperature here is going to be this temperature. It's 3 in from the left and 3 in from the right. Remember how we normally do it? We would pair up these temperatures. You'd say the -7 pairs up with this 1, the -5 pairs up with the 0, the -4 pairs up with the -1, and we're left with our little one in the middle there, -2. So the median is -2. That just leaves us with question 5. Colin has 5 cards. Okay, let's have a look at those cards for a minute. He's got 7, 7, 7, plus some unknown and some unknown here. But we're given some facts about the cards, and we've got to work out what the unknown is. So let's have a look at that. We're told that the mean of the cards is 7. Now that means if we add up all the numbers for all 5 cards and take the average by dividing by 5, we should end up with 7. So we should end up with something like this: 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus our unknown plus another unknown. If we put them all over 5, the average has to be 7. So that's one clue that we've got. The other clue we've got is that the range of the cards the range, is 8. So if we take the biggest value card, the biggest value, and we subtract off the smallest value, we should end up with 8. Best way to approach this really is to use a little bit of algebra and combine some of our ideas of algebra with averages. Because I don't know these cards here, I'm going to call the first card value X. I can call it anything until I know what it is. And I'll call the second card of value Y. Now what I do know is that the average of all the cards is 7. So I've got 5 cards and the average value for the cards is 7. So the total number, or the total value of all the cards, is going to be 35. Okay, so if I've got a mean of 7 and I've got 5 cards, 5 times the mean will give me 35. So I know now that 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus X plus Y equals 35. Or if I take all these 7's away by subtracting 7 from each of these here, that's 3 lots of 7's, then I'll subtract 7's times 3 here, 21. I can get rid of all the numbers on this side and I'm left with X plus Y equals 14. So I'm almost there. I still can't work out X and Y because I don't have enough information yet, but I can use the information about the fact that the range of the cards, the difference between the biggest card and the smallest card, is 8. So I'm going to assume that the differences between these two cards here, that this might be the smallest, X might be the smallest, and Y might be the biggest. I don't know yet which way around it's going to be, but I do know that if I take Y and X and separate them, take one away from the other, I end up with a difference of 8, the difference between the biggest card and the smallest card. I could have said X minus Y, it wouldn't make any difference. So Y minus X I'm going to say is equal to 8. Well, I can now take this X and get rid of it by adding X to this side and add an X to this side. So Y is now going to be equal to, well, these X's will cancel out. It's going to be equal to 8 plus X. I can take that value for Y and I can put it into this equation here by substitution.